think it's very funny. When I married Laura, I didn't think it was really scary. You want to be scary?
We'll look for you
They didn't like it.
I got you out of school.
Yeah, it's not good still.
Is there sound?
Yeah, well, just give her
Hi, Jenny.
He's ignoring me entirely ever since I came.
He's got a sound in it.
Yeah, say hi. Say hi.
Hi there, everybody. I didn't know there was
catching everybody. Are we going to be on cable?
MTV.
Right.
Be the kids or the mouse.
Rated R.
Read it. Not again. It's awful.
Come back, come back.
Here it comes. Now, do we want Grandpa? Grandpa.
He's coming with the
Yes, he
machine.
didn't.
Jimmy, we want Grandpa kissing Grandma.
All right.
They're gonna do it. Give her a kiss. Oh, we want to see a kiss. Come on. Come on.
When is the time?
Right now. Now. Yeah. Did you get it?
Yeah.
You got him. You got them kissing.
One more.
Come on, let's do it again.
When they come on.
Come on, Uncle Ted.
There we go.
Do it, Green.
Hey, come back. Come back. You know what the...
All right. Should be a good one there.
Champagne or ginger ale or apple juice, whichever one you prefer. I think it would be nice if we all went around and introduced ourselves and our relationships. Everybody's been asking me, are those all grandchildren? Part? Some are adopted over there, grandchildren by marriage, and others are almost married. So why don't we go around and introduce who we are and what our relationship is to the family. I think you all know all of us, but just to get clear, the 6 children, Doris, you want to start? And tell where you come in the family.
I'm the youngest, and I'm Doris Wells now, and I live in Boston.
And I'm the Nat Trosh, and I'm the middle of the family, and I live in Charlotte.
I'm Mary Jo Cresimore, eldest daughter, and I'm the one that used to be so skinny and puny that everybody worried about. You can see I'm perfectly healthy now.
I'm Ted Jr. I'm the only son in the family. I come second in line, and we live in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I'm a CPA, sort of a trade my daddy taught me how to bake. Go ahead.
I'm Carolyn Trapp, and I'm the second daughter, and I live in Fort Collins, Colorado. I have 5 children from 21 to 50.
Kept the family's tradition.
I'm Virginia Draper. I'm the next to last, and I live right around Charlotte here, and I sell real estate. That's about it.
I'm Jim Cresimore, and I'm the first one to have broken into the immediate family. And I'm not going to say I'm the oldest son-in-law. That's probably true. But, I was the first one.
There are some absolutes.
Charles Wells, husband of Doris, and father of Chuck.
I'm Lou Trosh, and I'm Manette's son, and I'm one of the grandchildren. I don't know which one. There's 18 of us, so I don't know which one.
He's the tallest one.
Yeah, I'm the tallest. I'm the tallest of the grandchildren, I guess.
And Lou, tell us where you're in school.
I'm in school at Washington Lee University of Virginia. Now I'm a freshman.
What's your major, please?
I don't have one. I'm on the team.
Basketball. Basketball.
Does he play?
Yeah.
He got his letter.
I think Brad told me that.
I'm Bill Trosh, and I'm the son of Ned, and I live in Charlotte.
I'm Heather.
Keep on going, Bill.
I'm finished.
And you're in
Don't you let those women. Don't you let those women buzz you.
And I'm a junior at West Charlotte High School here.
I'm Heather Draper. I'm Virginia Star. Heather Draper. I'm Virginia Star. I'm 15. I'm 16. Hey, you got that on camera too.
Help me play a clarinet.
Oh, I'll play it.
You play a clarinet?
I'm Dana Draper. I'm Virginia's oldest daughter. I'm a senior at Independence
And you're going where next year?
in Carolina.
I'm Jennifer Cresimore LeMay, and I'm Mary Jo's only daughter and the oldest granddaughter. And I'm recently married. I live in Atlanta.
I'm John LeMay. I married Jennifer about 6 months ago, and I'm Jim Cresimore's son-in-law. And I'm also an accountant. CPA.
This is free. I'm Freak Trosh, and I'm the youngest grandson.
Tell them who you are. You're the youngest. You tell them that.
Young, yeah. No, he's really Eric.
Are you the youngest?
Okay, I'm Brian Draper, and I'm the second youngest grandson. No, third. Third. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's so much taller than me, I forgot. Okay. And, well, I'm the son of Virginia, and I like saxophone. Chuck.
Talk real loud.
Talk real loud.
I'm Chuck Wells, 12. I'm the son of Doris. That's second youngest. Yes, you know.
I'm Joel Cresimore, fifth. oldest.
He's got the largest nose.
Right. And I'll get a state, NC State.
Why you go any farther? We can't hear.
Speak loud. Speak loud.
Shout.
Allison Logan, Joel's fiance, live in Raleigh.
I'm Charles Conrad, the oldest son of Ted and Patty Conrad, and the third grandchild. And I'm in Columbia, and I work for IBM.
I'm Catherine Jones. I'll be married to David Conrad, and I'm an art major at University of South Carolina.
And I'm David Conrad, and I go to the University of South Carolina. I'll graduate in December. Kind of nervous being on this TV too. I don't like it.
I'm Christina Cresimore. I'm married to Jimmy Cresimore, who's the oldest grandson and the son of Mary Jo and Jim Cresimore.
Now, Jimmy, you have to introduce yourself.
Fred's third child.
I'm John Williams. I'm her husband. Supposed to be.
I'm Helen Lights, the wife of Dick Lights, who is a cousin of Mary's and a child of her Aunt Dee. Oh, Dearborn, Michigan. I'm Norma Jean Lights Bless, and I'm Aunt Bee's youngest, and I live in Brighton, Michigan.
May I
I'm
say?
Mary's cousin.
Pardon me. May I say we're from Anderson, Indiana?
Jean Conrad from Rochester, New York. Married Laurie Conrad.
I'm Loris Conrad. I'm Harold's oldest son and second child. We live in Rochester, been spending a little time in Sarasota. We have a son, Gary, in California, and a daughter, Bonnie, in Redding. We're sorry they couldn't be with us, but we'll tell them about what they missed and take the pictures to them.
I'm Mary Wilson. I'm Harold Connor's youngest daughter, the fifth child. I have 6 children. I'm a nurse, registered nurse.
I'm the spouse of a city council member, Minette Trosh, and I'm also a partner with T.C. Conrad. He was our associate, and we just named him partner of the law firm because he's a Harvard Law graduate.
I'm Ann Vinyl, and I guess my relationship is Aunt to Trosh and Minette Trosh.
I'm Jim Vinyl, and this is my wife Ann, my daughter Patty, and my granddaughter. They will introduce themselves.
We can't talk for ourselves.
Well, I would like to thank T.C. and Mary for the wonderful brunch we had today, and also for the good time we had yesterday. And of course, T.C. is my bridge partner, and we beat everybody in sight.
Offer a challenge there.
Okay, I'll take it.
That's their story anyway. I'm Pat McQuarrie. I am Lou's cousin, Alex's daughter.
I'm Lori McCory. This is my mom, and I'm Lou's cousin.
I'm Elaine Gilby. I'm Mary's niece, and I'm my mother's daughter. And I'm an economist, and I have degrees from George Washington University and the University of Wisconsin at Madison. And by now, everyone knows why we broke up AT&T.
I'm Betty Gilby. I'm Joe Gilby's wife, Mary's brother's wife, and we live outside of Chicago. I had 4 children, one of whom is here today.
I'm Charles Conrad, 6th child of Harold Conrad, the only full-time farmer of the Conrad family.
I'm June Conrad, Charles's wife, mother of 4.
I'm Linda Conrad, wife of Don, and we have 5 children and 1 granddaughter.
I'm Don Conrad. I'm the youngest son, and also the youngest child of 10. And I farm and also work at Remies, at Delco Remies, which is a division of General Motors, work as a pipe fitter.
I'm Wanda Conrad, wife of Bob Conrad. Ted and Mary is my aunt and uncle by marriage.
I'm Bob Conrad, Harold Conrad's 5th son, and we're from Anderson, Indiana.
I'm Louise Hutton,
Harold Conrad's oldest child and the first grandchild in the whole bunch. I have 3 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren.
I'm Pat Conrad, the wife of Bill, and we have 3 children. One is married, and I'm going to be a grandmother, probably the oldest grandmother ever. But anyway, I'm going to make it.
I'm Bill Conrad, 7th child of Harold, and I'm the 4th son. I'm a dentist in Anderson, Indiana.
I'm Rudy Blanton, the father of Patty Conrad, Ted Jr.'s wife, and 3 Conrad grandchildren, of whom I'm extremely proud.
I'm Harold Conrad, Ted's brother.
And this is a man that helped the cow when I was a little fellow that kept her on what kind of dry feed or some kind.
So she wouldn't eat weeds.
So she wouldn't eat weeds, and that's the reason why I grew up so healthy. You saw me tripping the fantasy yesterday, didn't you? Hey, you're right. Sure.
Everybody.
We're going to start some toasting, and I'm going to be careful just to do a very simple toast that everybody will feel very, very comfortable and just spontaneously toasting my parents. So I'd like to say to very special parents on very special occasion, your 50th anniversary, the best to both of you. Thank you for everything. Here, here.
You're here.
I'll get the second one. Now let me tell you about the ground rules of toasting around here. Crouches sort of introduced us to it. And as the years go on, they get longer and longer. So go slow with the champagne because there's going to probably be a lot of toast around. Especially when Lou gets up there. Lou likes toast. So. And I think he's brought his uncle especially the toast today. I hear you. I too want to give a toast to my mother and father. My father I worked for, and he taught me how to work. Of course, I think all Conrads know how to work. Of course, I look around here and I don't see any lazy person around here. But the one thing I do want to do is to toast your 50th anniversary, and I appreciate all you've done for my family. Here, here.
You're here.
Well, I came to his 80th, and I wasn't prepared. We don't do a whole lot of toasting in our circles. So, see, Ben and I wrote one coming down. I brought an old letter. I am all ready. And then you say to keep it simple. Look at the first time in my life. I'm simple. Well, thankfully, I would like to share this. Every now and then, we do not say a lot of nice things to each other. I mean, we really are pretty close, and I have never felt, I feel very supported by my family, always. Whenever I was in tremendous pinches, it was my sisters and my family that kept my kids when I was bedridden, and it was stuff like that. So every now and then I do, just, it hits me. And about 2-3 years ago, I wrote Mother and Dad a letter, and I think I will just read a paragraph from that, if Mary tells me. But in the letter, I was thanking them for, I just thought back over my life, and I wanted to thank them for the things that they had done for me, and the ways that they had influenced me together as individuals in my own life. And I'll just read this one. It said, you do know that I could go on and on. There is so much I have left unsaid. And I mentioned something else here, and I said, you let me find out for myself, and that way leaves no doubts or if only. I thank you for letting us choose our ways. Although my life has had its ups and downs, it has been a good life, and I'm quite satisfied with it. I am glad you let us go our own ways. And one thing that has to do with a 50th wedding anniversary, even Dan and my marriage
support system that's there. And I know I try my father a great deal politically with some of my thinking. But Dad was quoted in the paper several years ago saying, well, you know, I taught her to think for herself. And it hurts him greatly sometimes when thoughts come out. But I've always known, I think we always, all of us as Mom and Dad love us deeply. They taught us to be independent. I don't think there's a person around here that isn't quite independent, so that's why Sunday dinners are very interesting, as we all have our own opinions on everything, and who can speak first is the one that tries to keep score the longest. And I attribute my children a great deal and the roots that they have, because we do have the pleasure of living just up the street from my parents, and my children always had that family to go to. When Mom and Dad weren't quite sympathetic enough, they knew they could turn to, well, Grandma who was baking cookies, or Grandma who would tell them like it is, or play checkers, and let my son Eric never win a game. In our family, it doesn't matter. And if Grandpa's playing a game, he's going to win if he wins, and he's not going to throw anything. And I guess he's won one out of how many years, Eric? Three. He's won three. To my mom and dad on their 50th, God bless and thank you. Oh, and if they would please vote for me, I do choose to run next time.
Well, you know how it goes. Those of us who come last have the least to say. Everything else is already said. So, but there's still, here we go. We've got me and one more, so I guess I have to say something. I guess that, you know, when you're sort of among the last people, you're always trying to catch up to somebody else. They're always doing something better than you, and you just want to look a little bit better yourself. And I guess you got a long way to go. You figure out you're never going to catch up. So you might as well forget it and just be yourself. And they still love you, and that's the whole thing right there. Is the family love is always there. Family again.
Best for the last.
I'm still very nervous. I always say the same thing with these things. They taught us to be independent, and I'm a Buddhist. And in the scriptures it says that life is the most important of all treasures in the universe. There's no other treasure in the universe that's more important. And I always thank my parents for giving me life, because it's the most, and also for caring for me as a child and bringing me up and not deserting me when I need them. So I want to thank them for giving me life again. And Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
Can I get in this?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Gotta get in before try.
Am I out of order?
No, you're in order. You're in perfect order.
I just thought the other side of the house ought to have a little something to say. And first, Jean joins me in thanking you for including us in this and for having this occasion where we cousins can get together and really feel a part of one another's lives. We don't see one another very much. We thank you for that. It's been a great and a happy time. And just a short toast, I remember, and I'll be very careful not to remember too much, okay? Because in our house we sat around and talked on the old farm home, and then Don finally said, now tell us how it was in the old days. And then of course that goes on and on. But I remember when Uncle Teddy used to come home from school, and he would be a catalyst for, this was holiday time, in my grandfather's house, and my great-grandmother was sort of the lady of the house there. But that's where we had our Christmas dinner. And we always looked forward to his coming home to what he had to say, and he always had some words of encouragement and a few challenges to hand down when he came home. But as I remember, you were a catalyst for joy and goodwill in our holiday season, and I remember that, and I'm thankful and grateful for that. And as I sat here reflecting upon what I knew of you in my lifetime and how we associated and what really did that mean in my life, it seems to me that I would just like to say simply that would like to wish you and your bride of 50 years, many more years of happy marriage, and to say that you have been a catalyst for excellence in your profession, in your community, and to your family. And for that, I'm very thankful.
I know you've heard them, Josh. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go. One thing that I noticed as an in-law, and I speak as an in-law or outlaw rather than part of the family, but both Ted and Mary have very, very deep roots. Now, Ted came from the farm in Indiana, and I think that when you people got him off the farm, you made a wise decision. TC has a garden. I have to tell this story because I don't really know the roots of this story, but I'm going to tell it because it is a true story. Sometimes the best stories are true stories. TC has a tomato garden, and every spring he loves to plant those tomatoes. TC is one of the few men that I know that every day he gets up, he puts on a suit. I don't know how you plant seeds in Indiana, but he does all his garden work in his suit. And he goes and he works on those tomato plants, and he gets his shoes muddy, and he comes in, and then Mary can't understand where the mud comes from. That's kind of TC's roots, real farm man. Now Mary came from Chicago. She's got some deep roots in Chicago. And maybe some of you people from Chicago can tell me Mary's interesting connection with poisons. Mary is scared to death of poisons. Now, one thing about TC, when he plants those tomatoes, they grow, and in the summer, one thing about TC is he doesn't waste anything. And he has bushels and bushels of tomatoes, and he brings them to our house, and we eat every one of those tomatoes. He makes sure we eat them. Well, one spring, he had some bugs on those tomato plants. And I got a call from Mary, and Mary was very, very upset. She said, TC has some bugs on the tomatoes, and he is going to spray those bugs with poison. And we're all going to die. Now, one thing about TC is he's got two left hands. He's not very good with hand coordination. About that time, TC comes flying down the street. You can always tell when TC's coming because you can hear the car. And, of course, now being a suburbanite, we always seed the lawn and fertilize the lawn in the spring so that we can cut all the grass in the summer. TC comes, we have a driveway now. Driveways are not for cars. For TC, he comes right on the lawn. He charges right on the lawn. He comes charging in there and he says, I need your sprayer. I got some bugs on my tomato plants and we got to kill them. So I rigged that sprayer so that it wouldn't spray right. He said, you come on up here with me. Okay, TC, I'll come up with you. So he gets that sprayer and he tries to spray the poison and it doesn't come out. You better fix this sprayer. Okay, TC, I'll fix it. Mary's standing behind TC, please do something. So as a final last resort, I said, TC, I said, you know, them bugs are God's creatures too. You know, they have the right to live just as much as your tomatoes. He looked at me and he said, if God wants them tomatoes, them bugs to live, he better get them the heck off my tomatoes. But at any rate, I wanted to toast TC and Mary, my law partner, my confidant, and my two best friends.
potential and love. So I guess I can start us off, as Jimmy's the oldest, and he's working that camera out there. But I don't know, I live, like my mom said, I live down the street from my grandma and grandfather. And what I want to tell you, so I'm not going to make it real long or anything, I just want to say that they've always been there. I mean, at everything that we do, they're always there. And I just want to thank them.
Here.
Here.
It's getting low on champagne. There's more over here now.
Ted's got a whole case.
We're allowed to be here all night.
I do want to explain why the champagne is in pitchers. They can't serve till after 1 on Sundays.
I got the apple juice.
This is the Mayor Pro Tem.
We know how that got done, right?
We got apple juice too.
Is there something illegal going on? Now, you're not compromising these days, are you?
Okay. Should be taping this.
All right, I just wanted to say that this is going to get sort of repetitive. I am another one of the ones that lives down the street from Grandpa and Grandma. And I just want to say that I'm glad I lived down the street from them for pretty much my whole life, because they were always there. And if I ever had a school play or something, they were there to support me and to, give me just a push to, do my best. And Grandpa's always, push me. You got do good in school, and I'm just glad he did, to make me work and to give me the support that I needed. And I just want to say thanks for giving me the support.
Here. Go ahead. I just want to say that I love my grandparents very much, and for them, I'm glad they had a happy 50th anniversary. Well, I'm not very good at this kind of stuff. I'd rather be writing than speaking, but didn't have a chance to prepare a speech. So, everything everybody said is true. This family is very close. A lot of my friends don't even know half their cousins. I've got 18 on one side, and I know them all, and I'm very close to them all. And I'm very happy for that. And my grandparents and the rest of my family always support me in whatever I do. When Grandpa got me my application into college, I wouldn't be going to Carolina if it wasn't for him. He sent it to Federal Express the last day.
Did you write the essay?
Yeah, him and Uncle Lou got me to write my essay too. I wasn't going to do that, but they got me to do that. And I just want to thank everybody for always being there. I do love everybody very much. Here.
Well, I think of my grandparents as very contemporary and very energetic and not very grandparently at all. And they've always shown an astounding interest in my life. And I know they've shown the same interest in every other grandkid's life, which is just amazing. And I guess that's what gives us a center as a family. And you can just take credit for that. And thank you very much.
Here.
The grandchildren of age, please raise your hand.
Some of this is ginger ale and some of those pictures and some of the champagne.
And I know that her family is 100% behind her. I mean, all of her family.
Your turn, Eric.
Well, I thank them for taking me to Carowinds every summer. And all the fights we get into about who gets to pick about what prizes we get for his age and weight guessing.
Yeah, tell them about the prize. Yeah, tell them what I got to do last.
Explain, Eric, what you're talking about. Carowinds is an amusement park, and they have where you guess your age.
And Grandpa always wins. We always argue who gets the prize, me, Gran, or Charlie. And usually Charlie usually gets it because he's the farthest away. And he hasn't got it yet. And just all the time he beat me in checkers. Okay. Well, I just want to say I love my grandparents very much, and I can still remember when he used to pull on my toes when I was little. And he'd always trick me into coming over there, and he's so smart in everything he does. He's cunning too. But I still love him. So I just want to tell you.
We could toast my grandfather from bringing the caroling and stuff. Grandma's help. Bringing me the carolings and stuff. And it always has been fun. And he used to tickle me and stuff.
Well, I don't know how we wound up with a group of grandchildren like this, how we wound up with so many talented people and everything. I was trying to figure it out the other day. And then I got to looking down at my toes and I started thinking about it. That must be it. It must be the secret, Grandpa's secret for getting the blood rushing down to our brains. He'd pick us up by our toes, and I remember he picked me up by my toes in one hand, and he picked David up by his toes in the other hand, and see which of us would scream the loudest. And I guess that's how we wound up so talented. We have a future chemist here, obviously, with his concoctions. Well, Grant, maybe he needs to be picked up by his toes a couple more times, but he's still But I just appreciate it, and I want all us to remember to do the same thing to our grandchildren. So they'll turn out.
Too much blood rushed to his nose.
I just want to say to half a century of marriage and example of excellence.
First of all, I'd just like to really thank the Lord for giving me 4 wonderful grandparents. I mean, they have, and the 2 that we're honoring here today are just, have had such a immeasurable, made such a measurable difference in the lives of all of us here. I can remember, coming up and visiting them for the summer, and they'd take us to the Nature Museum. Grandpa would sneak past the guards on these elevators and take us to the top of the tall buildings in Charlotte. From taking us to wrestling on Christmas night, making all the women in the family furious. I've just had some of the times in my life in this family, and those are the fun times. I've been inspired by my grandpa and grandmother. They push you to achieve excellence, and I attribute that to a lot of the success I've had in my young years, and I thank you for that. And again, I just give credit to the Lord and just give him thanks for giving me such wonderful people.
I just want to say I was extremely impressed with the family ties here. It's really a joy to see it. That I'm going to be very proud to be a member of this family. And I also congratulate you on your 50th anniversary.
Well, I'll please Mary Jo and keep it short. I just want to congratulate y'all on y'all's 50 years, and hope that Catherine and I can have the same numbers as y'all have and be as happy as y'all are.
Here, here, here.
Well, I would like to say, before I ever became a part of this family, I heard all these stories about Grandma and Grandpa and all the things that went on. And I think that you live up to all the stories. But I haven't had any grandparents myself, and I know I'm gone, and I would like to thank you for making me feel like I have grandparents and a part of this family, and love you.
I'd just like to say one thing here, that
remember, been coming down to Charlotte for 20-some years now. The most amazing thing to me is that, honestly, I'm not just saying this because it's, well, toast and all, but from what I remember from 20-some years ago, I don't think they have aged one bit. I honestly don't think that. They look the same they did 20-some years ago, and living a good life always shows.
I'll get that in my camera here.
Well, Mary, I'd like to toast you. This lady looks like my mom. I love her. But you did all right. She was never going to have any kids, and you did great.
I want to say something. That little girl's mother that just talked took us from Chicago, immediately we were married, and took us to Detroit, to her house, where we spent part of our honeymoon. And I'll swear, in the car, she rode one half on the road and one half on the side of the road.
It was just for safety.
And I think that's where my father learned how to drive. He's still doing it today.
Well, again, being the very first one brave enough to join this immediate family, it has been quite an experience. This is a very momentous and happy occasion for two very special people. And I know we've all enjoyed every bit of it. I thought about a couple of days ago, Carolyn brother didn't do that because you got cut off by writing speech. I thought about writing something that would be appropriate, because for the 50 years, that's something very special. But that's just not like me anyway, to write something down. Some people say I'm a little bit of a hip shooter, whatever you want to call it. I guess I kind of like to say it like it is, not being a Shakespeare or Browning or somebody like that. I'm sure whatever I would have written would have been kind of second best, and this wouldn't be an occasion for second best. I thought about, what do you say about in-laws? And I remember listening to all kind of people that tell in-law stories. And boy, you can hear some doozies. And I guess a lot of them are in jest, but in many cases they're true. And I think it's rather interesting to stand around in a group and they start on in-laws. And some of them are very disparaging and indicting stories. And then they wait after they tell you these stories as if you're supposed to join in. Well, I've always been very happy that I was never qualified, never had any reason to join in to those disparaging stories. I guess you could kind of paraphrase it like the old eastern North Carolina farmer spitting tobacco and saying, "Ain't never had no in-law problem." And I could say a lot of things, but I think that might well be the best compliment that I could say to him. I heard a preacher say one time that he and his wife had lived together 20-some years and had never had an argument or a major disagreement. I began quietly to question his integrity on such a statement, and I thought, well, it's either one or two things. That's the dullest marriage in the world, or he's the biggest liar in the world. I'm not sure which. And I still contend that's not possible for couples. But I can contend here that that has been possible between son-in-law and mother and father-in-law, because we have never had a major knockdown disagreement. And that's meant a lot to me. And I'd just like to say to them, as they have come to celebrate these 50 years, and I guess some people would say that's the time when you begin to reach the sunset years. I agree with somebody I heard say the other day that those are not sunset years. They're the years of the greatest health and happiness and enjoyment that life can give you. And I certainly want to wish the two of you the greatest health and happiness that life can give you.
All right, come on, Alec. You get up in a minute, Bobby.
Well, Mary, first of all, here's to you for showing us so much kindness, so much hospitality. Ann and I both love you very, very much. And here's to Ted, who has taught me patience. And never saying a word out of the way when we play bridge. Just going along nice and quiet and evenly. And I really appreciate that, Ted. And I have learned an awful lot from that. And again, I think it was great of you, and I appreciate it. But we still are the champions, and we will challenge anybody, won't we?
We really have enjoyed being here and being with all these cousins. Our Dad just didn't make it, but he did. I'm glad. But the similarity really gets me. Ted raised his family in the city, and we were raised on the farm, and it's got to be from the roots of those two men. But Lou was asking me, he says, what do you remember most about Uncle Ted? Well, I said, I guess right offhand, the thing I remember the most is when you could have dinner or anything, he was always prompt. He never he could always plan something, and he'd be right there, and that really meant a lot because after all, when you go to a lot of work and fix a nice meal, Ted would really be there, and he'd be right there. But we congratulate you, Ted and Aunt Mary. And we really have enjoyed it and enjoying seeing all of our cousins. And this is really the first time, and hope maybe we do it again someday.
TC and Mary, I'd like to thank you for the happiness and joy you brought to our family through your relationship with my parents and, of course, with Lou. And wish you the very best on your 50th.
Uncle Teddy, as you said, you was kind of sorry that George wouldn't get up here, and my brother George. And about, I guess it was maybe 15 years ago that you told him how to go north to Indiana, up through the mountains and one thing and another. And George was so scared because he said there's no way in the world that that could be right. But don't you know it was? The way that you did, you know, I mean, because of the roads and because of the detours. And George was amazed at the way that you told him, I don't know whether you remember or not, how to go up through the mountains and go back to Indiana. So that's the part that I remember. I certainly thank you for what you've given us, and I'm thankful and pray that you will have many more wonderful years together. It's a wonderful thing to be married for 50 years. Cheers.
I don't want to say very much because it takes a lot of time to leave, but we love Uncle Teddy and Aunt Mary, and they've been awfully good to come to Indiana. And, you know, you get kind of tired of everybody talking about Uncle Teddy talking too much, and it takes so long to say something. And it's kind of funny, but he knows we love him, so he knows how to take it. He's been real good to come up to our weddings and Dad's birthday, and one time we couldn't come down to Uncle Teddy's birthday party because we had a wedding in Indiana, and Uncle Teddy didn't like it very well. He said he was somebody should have been here, but we really talked about it. But Uncle Teddy came to Dad's 90th birthday last October, and George is the one. I'm sorry you couldn't have met George because he's the one that's a little bit like Uncle Teddy. He talks an awful lot in our family. And he and Uncle Teddy have a lot of fun, and they kind of put it on each other, but they have a lot of fun. But and I was kind of disappointed because Uncle Teddy heard that when he was up there, and George was just making fun, and everybody said, well, now, we we don't want Teddy to talk too much because we want to get this program over with, and everybody's got things to do and things, you know. So Uncle Teddy didn't say very much, and I was really surprised, and I think he took that to heart. So I think we didn't mean it, but and I don't want to take away from out here either, so I don't want to talk too much. But we're glad to be a part of the family of Aunt Mary and Uncle Teddy. We really appreciated you, and so we're glad to be here. God bless you in about 2 years.
Happy 50th wedding anniversary. I hope you have 50 more and I can be there. And I want to wish a toast to the best uncle and aunt I ever had.
I would like to say something as an in-law. We've appreciated Uncle Ted and Aunt Mary's trouble they go to send out their Christmas card every year. And they're always yes, I look forward to that letter every year, and I hope you continue. And this is why I try to keep up with these grandchildren. And I read, and I know the children, but the grandchildren, I just enjoy that too. But now it's going to be so much more to think that we've met you, and I'm just so sorry my daughter would have loved every minute of this, and I'm so sorry that she can't be here. But I hope we have pictures to show, and someday that you could all get together. And if you ever come to Indiana, please do. There's enough of us to take care of you, and we just would enjoy it so much. And we're all pretty much in the area, except for Loris, and he's kind of between Rochester and Florida, but I think if you would all come, he would be there. You would have no excuse. And I don't know, I think there's 31 grandchildren and 16 great-grandchildren. So we're quite a family, too, when we get together. So we try to get together on Christmas and Thanksgiving, and we alternate every other year. Bill and I just moved, and we have a clubhouse, so it's kind of nice to be able to take them to the clubhouse now instead of taking down Grandpa's bed, so we could all get in the house. So we just have enjoyed it so much, and I would like to do this again next year, but I think Manette probably would like someone else to plan. The busiest person gets things done, and I just think she and Mary Jo, and I know you've all helped immensely, but it's wonderful to have a family, and we just have enjoyed it so much. I think it's the event of the year.
I didn't hear it too well, and I wanted to kind of get corrected a little bit. Have you got 5 generations on your side anywhere, as you said, somebody? Have you got 5 generations, Mary and Ted?
No great-grandchildren, although they're waiting. There are some possibilities sitting over there.
We have 5 generations. You don't get that too often if you stop to figure it up. Everything's got to go right if you get that. And, so Father is, we have the 5 generations, and really, I don't know how to say this and be kind or anything. It seems like we just can't get them together to get that picture. You ought to be able to get a picture of your 5 generations, because it just doesn't come along that often. Get your 4, but getting 5 is kind of rough.
Right.
And I should have said that's Louise down here. Louise is right here is Dad, and that'd be the 5 generations. Louise is boys, right?
Well, what to Louise? Is she a grandma or a great-grandma?
Oh, great.
Grandmother and a great-grandmother. She lives her way far away.
That's what I'm trying to say in an awkward way.
I just want to say real quick to all the people up in Indiana, pretty soon there's going to be one of his grandchildren coming up there to DePaul University. I was going up there. Grandpa took me up there for a trip up there, and I liked that place. And I'm just talking to the younger grandchildren. Sooner or later, he's going to get one of us. We're going to be up there at DePaul University.
If Bill won't do it, we have to sacrifice Eric.
Here's for me. You got Chuck and
I'd like to thank
Ted and Mary and their children. We've been removed by distance for many years. This is the first time I've been back to Charlotte, I think, in 10 years. That was for the 40th. And I certainly am glad to get to know all the grandchildren and renew my acquaintances with her children and to meet all the Conrads, which I've never met before. And I think you have an outstanding family. I'm sorry we weren't closer all these years.
Uncle Teddy, when did, how many years ago did you come to Charlotte? Do you have any?
34.
34 years.
You don't know the minutes? He probably knows the minutes.
Well, I like to say that I heard one story about a time that there was that I don't know if it's true or not, but somebody said that there was Jimmy, Grandpa, and Grandma, and a couple other people. They were going to Indiana or someplace like that, and they got in there was a tornado or something.
It is true.
Grandpa tried to outrun the tornado. I guess he made it.
He didn't just outrun it. He outran it at a right angle. It wasn't like it was behind us catching up. It was going this way, and we were going that way. And it went right over the car. He really accurately. He didn't have.
Tell him, Jimmy, it was coming from Denver. Wasn't it?
That's right. And Grandpa and me, nobody will believe us anyway, but Grandma will tell you. And everybody knows Grandma's an honest person. She'll tell you that was true.
It's a fact.
It is a fact.
And we're all lucky to still have Grandma around because she jumped out of the car when he did it.
That was another time.
And Grandpa was sitting. What was it? Grandma told me to get down the back seat and put a blanket over me. So, and that infuriated Grandpa, who sat there yelling at the top of his lungs in the car, "Calamity Jane, Calamity Jane," the whole time. And this is a big. We have little tornadoes around here. This was a big Midwestern tornado. Grandpa said he was born and raised in Indiana. He knew those tornadoes, and he knew it wasn't. And it did. It went right over the car.
I want to tell this tale about Grandpa because I think everybody appreciates it. And all you General Motors people appreciate it better than anything. We've got General Motors on both sides, I mind. Yeah. Grandpa's always been dedicated to General Motors automobiles. He's been driving one of these diesels around for 6 or 8 years. He finally decided that even though, Loris, you might have had something to do with those diesels, or somebody, I'm sure, in the country had something to do with diesels, he's gotten rid of that car now. And he got him regular gas burner again. And he even got these automatic locks on there, and I think the reason he got those was the tale is, and I wasn't on the trip, his mother and daddy were going up north, and she likes to backseat drive a lot. She just talks about this. I'm going to jump out of the car. I'm going to jump out of the car. I'm going to jump out of the car. And I've heard the tale that she actually fell out of the car. And he didn't know she was gone for that. I don't know if that's true.
That's true. I was there.
You were there. This poor woman fell down the side of the mountain, and he didn't know she was there. But he still does drive a General Motors vehicle, and he likes those General Motors cars.
Yeah, and y'all made one that'll match all his ties, too.
Well, what's it? Don't you drive the Cadillac, too?
Yeah.
The first Cadillac I ever had. And then Grandma, Mary insisted on it. She said, if we're going to have a 50th, you can buy a Cadillac.
The truth of the matter is it was red. Yeah.
That's right.
It was red.
Well, no, the real truth of that is that he knows a good banker over Cresimore. I think
Also, we were on our way to the Oldsmobile, but he saw the Cadillac, the red Cadillacs in that lot, and he just went right in. And the man says, I've got just the thing for you. And he brought the red Cadillac up, and that's all there was to it.
It matched all his suits.
Mary Jo always knows.
Yeah, there's a little bit of story behind this Cadillac, too, that ought to be elaborated on. Just a tiny
Because
bit.
they think he's gotten highfalutin. They know that it isn't a case
called up at the house in Rhode Island. I was talking to him about it. He said, could I get him a deal on an Oldsmobile? And I told him that we could. And I said, you ought to go look at the Oldsmobile and find out what they want for it, and call them back and let me know, and I'll tell you how much better we can get it for you. And I said, but you ought to look at the Chrysler, too. That's a good-looking car. And I said, how about a Cadillac? No, I don't want any Cadillac. I'm not buying any Cadillac. No, I'm not buying any Cadillac. And I said, well, you ought to just go look at it. No, I don't want any Cadillac. That's out. And you kept saying something about that you might like a Cadillac. And every time you say that, he's like, no, we're not going to look at a Cadillac. So I said, okay. So he said, what time is it? And I said, it's about 12:30. This was on Saturday. And he said, well, we got time. Go look somewhere this afternoon. So I said, well, look, get a bid, call me out the money, give me your bid, and I'll see how much better we can do for you. So about 6:30, I'd been somewhere and came back in, the phone rings, and he's on the phone and said, well, I already bought a car. I already bought a car, and I figured he'd found it already. And he said, yeah, and I said, well, what kind? I assumed it was an Oldsmobile. So I bought a Cadillac. That's over 6 hours earlier. There's no way he's going to have a Cadillac.
What a matched your coat, isn't it?
Grandma, didn't you tell me one time that he brought one home or something like that, and that you made him take it back or something?
I forgot that. That's true.
I was telling him,
Years ago.
yeah, I remembered you told me that.
I wasn't going to ride in any Cadillac. Have a Cadillac. Yeah, let me know.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I want to tell you a little bit of that guy. I went in there to buy that Cadillac, and he had just the car I wanted, and looked just right, and
Right color.
and the right color, and I saw the tag on the window, saw what it was, and he offered to give it to me for $1,500 off for the window price. I said, I couldn't help. Finally, it came down $3,000 off the window price. I said, you got a deal.
You notice if you
I
have
don't fool around very long with it. When I go after it,
That sounds like that.
yeah.
Mary comes by her backseat driving naturally because her mother always did that. And when Uncle Joe finally got tired of Aunt Minnie driving, he finally put in a brake on her side because she would push, she'd push her foot so when he drove fast. And she was a little terrified, so she'd always push her foot so hard on the floorboard. And he finally put in a brake for her because her legs were always hurting so bad after she made the trip. No, that was your mother and your father. So she comes there backseat driving that.
Yeah.
So you ought to put a brake in there for her. It helped that man great stuff.
We would never
My grandchildren helped us out. They gave me a backseat driver's license. I didn't know. And every time he says, don't speak, they say, oh, but she has a right. She has a license.
Yeah.
You say something.
It's time for you to say
Well, I've filed in here and said words now and then and so forth. This is really one of the most glorious occasions I can imagine. This is one of the most glorious occasions I can imagine. That fellow's family and my family all around together. I don't think families get together enough like they used to do. They used to have family reunions and so on. This is a family reunion. And after you've been married for 50 years to a great lady and one whom I've loved, although at times it may seem I didn't. She's put up with very tremendous amount of faults on my part. I'm just an old farm boy, and but I'm proud of it. And she has enabled me to go through problems, help him with problems. She has, we together have brought up 6 fine children, 18 fine grandchildren, and really, I love her. And I want to
Yeah, I waited 50 years to get that many words out of it. But I know he really thinks this is great because he gave me jewelry. I don't specialize in jewelry, and he certainly doesn't. Giving it. Anyway, I want to thank you all for being here, and to tell you, when he said he's a farm boy. Do you remember the first time I came down there, and y'all thought I didn't know the difference between the hen coop and the outhouse? That surprised me because I was from Chicago, but you didn't understand I was also from Michigan and knew all about those things. Farm. And it's been wonderful having a background like that and being married all this time. And I just love all my grandchildren and my children. And since I've been retired, they don't say much about me, but I've been very independent. I've lived my own life. I recommend it to everybody. Your family likes you better. You're not bossing them around anymore. They never listened anyway, but I used to shout. and I'm really very much in love with him. I didn't tell him so when I bought the mat in it. But the only reason we're together, and I guess I told some of you this, but I want everybody to hear it. Ted and I made a pact that if I would put up with him, he would put up with me. And it keeps you very humble because, the only one that really forgives you all your sins is God. But when your husband and you can stay together, there's a great deal of forgiveness and thanksgiving for what God has done. And I guess that's the way we did it. And we're as much surprised as anybody else. And we're here today, and you're all here. And what you said was true, Norma. But all of life is a surprise, and we're just going to enjoy it. Every day of it. He said to me the other day, he said, I think I'm getting old enough to really buy a Cadillac and enjoy life and do what I want. When you think of it, when you're in your 80s, if you don't start then, you're not going to get very far. So you may see us in the newspaper doing something like going to up in space or something. If you ever get around to the grandfathers and grandmothers, we'll be there. He'll be pulling me on. I'd be scared. But I really love you. And I love all of you.
Chasing the shuttle down the runway like that time up at the airport with your bags.
There are a lot of folks that do need to get on their way. We still have the hospitality room 1221. There are several keys floating around this place for it if y'all want to go. Some are staying tonight, some are not. A lot are not. But just go and come as you want, unless anyone else has.
And
we'll be in the hospitality room.
And I'll go ahead. I'm gonna set this up, and it'll be
Sure,
shown.
everybody.
Yeah. Hospitality room.
And we need to thank Jimmy because through all of this he has worked. And you can make Jimmy, can you make copies of that?
Oh yeah.
Hey, you can make copies?
Mm-hmm.
Tim can make copies.
With enough, with.
You want to explain? Maybe they don't know how it works.
How to get a copy?
How much money?
Well, y'all are the accountant. With this many accountants around here, I let y'all take care of that. I'm not an accountant.
No, I mean, how they set it up. An idea. How they can set it up for their TV.
It's just a standard VCR. If you want a beta format, I can get a beta format. I just need to know whether you need a VHS or a beta format. That's the only thing I need to know. I can do either one of them.
And for those that would like to watch a soccer game, my son just snuck out to play a 10-year-old soccer game.
It's good to have all y'all with us.
Thank you for coming.